Hello world, welcome to this tutorial. Today we're going to cover another Leetcode challenge. This time we're going to do JavaScript, and the problem we're going to solve is called number of steps to reduce a number to 0. First I will do an explanation of the problem, and then we'll do a solution and do the code. So let's take a look at this one. It says, giving a non-integer num, return the number of steps to reduce it to 0. If the current number is even, then you have to divide by 2, and if it is odd, then subtract 1. So what does that look like? Well, the first example, they give us 14, and it takes 6 steps to get to 0. So let's take a look at each step. The first step, 14, we will check to see if it's odd or even. In this case, it is even, so we will divide by 2 and then get 7. Now it is odd, so the step number 2 is odd, so we will subtract 1, and that will give us 6. Now, step number 3, it is 6, so it is even. We'll divide by 2 and get 3. The next step, it is 3, which is odd. We'll subtract 1 and get 2. Then 2, it is even. Divide by 2, and we'll get 1. And then the last step, 1 is odd. We'll subtract 1 and get 0. And that is our final step. So it took 6 steps. Hopefully that all makes sense in this problem. So let's talk about how we're going to solve this one. All right, so first I'm going to establish a counter. Okay, and I'll set it to 0. And then we're going to count each time that it does a step. Then we're going to do a while loop. So what that looks like is we're just going to say while nums, which is the number they gave us, is greater than 0. So we're going to loop through this until it gets down to 0. Once it reaches 0, we'll exit out. All right, so then the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to do an if statement, and we're going to ask if the number is even. All right, so first, if we're going to do an if statement, if number is even, then what we're going to do is we're going to take that number and we're going to divide it by 2. All right, and then if it is not even, so meaning it is odd, we're going to take that number and we're going to subtract 1. So it's either even or odd. Now we know what we're going to do. Then the next thing we're going to do is we need to count each time that it goes through this loop. So we'll do a counter, and we're going to add 1 to that counter. And then when we're all done through the loop and the number is 0, then we will return the counter. So this is somewhat of our pseudocode. Let's go ahead and do this in JavaScript. So first thing is we will do let counter equal to 0. Then we'll do while num is greater than 0. And first we'll do if our number mod 2 is 0, which that means it is if the number is even. Then what we'll do is take that number and divide it by num divided by equal 2. We'll divide it by 2. All right, and then our else statement is going to be num minus equal 1, and then we will do the count. So you can see if is even, then we're going to divide by 2. If otherwise, we're going to subtract 1. Each time we do that, we're going to count. And then the last step here is to return counter. All right, let's go ahead and run that. Oh, I need to spell this correctly. All right, we'll run it again, and it runs. All right, hopefully all that explanation makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I hope to see you in the next one. So long.